I'm Kissiah Young, and this is On the Mat, a YouTube space where we sit and talk about the many layers of life, particularly grief and the impermanent nature of our being. Take a moment, sit with me. Life is our longest, shortest experience. I find myself saying that rather regularly. Give it some thought. Life is our longest, shortest experience. We will never have an experience as long as we have our life experience. And yet, in any moment where our mortality comes to the fore, it's our shortest experience because it's never long enough. If we're facing a diagnosis or, you know, being met with someone else's maybe precarious reality, we realize like, wow, life isn't forever. Our individual experiences, our individual lifetimes, they're not infinite. We're here for a time, and then time is up. Now, perhaps in the beyond, there's something beyond that we love, like, oh, I should have gotten here sooner. Perhaps, but it's hard to kind of think our way in that direction, right? When we're in this tangible physical reality. So in terms of the beyond, that's beyond my ability to access. So I'm dropping into the finite nature of my own existence because it isn't infinite, it is finite. My time is finite, your time is finite. The body changes, we grow older if we're fortunate, and we experience the little losses along the way, right? Maybe our hair changes, or maybe our bodies change, our strength changes, our vision, our hearing, our friendships. We have these little losses along the way. And knowing that life is our longest, shortest experience, what are we doing with our time now? What are we focusing on truly? Are there things that we are absorbed in that really, we might want to let that go? Are we spending time in ways that do not add to our fullness? How are we spending this finite time so that because not if, when the moment arises and we are met with the sudden nature of life happening, maybe we're looking our lives in the face, we're staring at our mortality, so that we can say what the poet Andrea Gibson, who died July 14th, Colorado's poet laureate, what they said, that they won that day, that the day they died, they would be a winner that day. That's deep and wide. To basically say, don't cry for me because I actually am a winner on that day. Are we living our lives in a way that allows us to meet our own death with grace? Or are we living in a way where there's going to be resistance in that moment? There's going to be a denial in that moment. Because we can be afraid and not deny, right? We can be afraid of the unknown and still find a sort of a flow or a footing in it. Or we can be angry and resistant. We can contract, or we can expand. We can hold tightly our grip, or we can loosen it. We can hold our breath, or we can breathe. I can't help but think that Andrea Gibson must have spent a lot of time in a deep contemplation about their mortality. That it had to be very close to their inhale and exhale to be able to write poetry that sends the message to self and other that I will be a winner on that day that they died. That's deep. And in this moment, I'm thinking, okay, Kissiah, how are you living? Like self, how are you living? How is your time now? What has your attention? When we ask ourselves these kinds of questions, how do I go about my day? Where, upon what do my thoughts fall? What am I cultivating, massaging into my life? When we spend time thinking on these things, they really do inform sort of the now and the later. For me, it gives me space to be more intentional, to be more mindful around how I'm moving through time and space, to not waste my time because I don't get it back, to say the thing now because now is the time to say the thing, to not take for granted the comings and goings, what I have, what I let go of, my partner, life, health, being able to sit here and get up without assistance, right? When we remember that it's all fleeting, it's all coming and going, that nothing is permanent except change, then do I love it well? Does it help me to love well, to let go without attachment and clinging, to receive, to release, to receive, to release like the ocean, how it comes and it recedes. There's a magic to life. And as we sit now on the mat today, on this Sunday, I just want to invite us to give thought to how life is our longest, shortest experience and see how that might inform how we live it. And it's not about perfection, it's about practice. Perfection is an illusion, but practice, we can get in a groove of practicing. You know, we can take some steps forward, even if we take one back. It's a practice, it's a dance. It's not a destination. Our lives aren't about destination, it's about cultivation of what's happening, of our intentions, to cultivate the garden of our intentions, to live well, to love well, to be awake inside of our living and loving, because eventually we will have a sleep that does not return us to this wakefulness. So I want to invite us today on the mat to give thought to this life being our longest, shortest experience. May we hold that in such a way that it informs sort of the mystery inside of us and the magic of our being, to live well and fully, and to love well and fully. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your presence with me here on the mat.